This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by David Price over Zoom. David, first and foremost, how's life?
Good, thanks, Andy. All is good, mate. All is well. Can't complain.
Good to hear. Now, last time we did an interview on a Sunday, you was getting a roast ready, so I'm not interrupting anything today, am I?
No, I'm not doing that today, no. No, we're all right. We've got time. We're all right.
Perfect. Let's obviously get straight into it. A heavyweight fight took place last night that everybody up and down the country has been looking forward to for months on end now, between Daniel Dubois and Joyce. Joyce successful with a 10th round stoppage victory. Just your thoughts and reflection on the fight first and foremost, David.
Yeah, it didn't disappoint for me. They're the fights where, although there wasn't much drama in it until obviously the end, the rounds are flying by because you're so fixated on the fight because you just know something can happen at any time. So it's intriguing and you just can't take your eye off the fight. And it was more of a boxing match, which I wasn't expecting, to be honest. I thought Joyce was going to put his foot on the gas early doors and let his hands go more, but did he box well behind that jab? Someone said on a WhatsApp chat, says about his jab didn't look good in the first round, and I was like, it mightn't look pretty, but look how accurate it is. And I said, his jab is going to pay dividends later on in the fight, and I don't think he landed more than 5 right hands to the face or the head. It was just a jab, constant peppering of the jab. Dubois applied himself brilliantly as well. So yeah, it was great, and it warmed into it nice, because at first I thought it looked a bit tense, and they both looked a little bit clumsy in the first round and a bit slow. But then as they warmed into it, they both relaxed a bit more, and it flowed nice. It was a good boxing match. Yeah, and obviously it was close until the end, as far as winning the rounds were concerned. But that injury to Daniel Dubois' eye, it was a serious injury from early on. I thought I seen it closing, and I've backed Joyce obviously, and fancied him to win the fight since it's been announced. So I like being right, but at the same time, you want to fight his health is paramount, and it looked like a bad one. So great win for Joyce. And let's talk about the fact that Daniel Dubois took this fight at 23 years of age. Even though he's blasted everyone out, it was a big step up to that big. Had a big upside if he won a world title fight. He didn't have to take that fight at that stage, but he did. And no one wants part of Joyce, really, unless they have to. No one's going to pick Joyce as an opponent or call him out, I don't think so. Just because of the way he fights, and he's got a granite chin, and he obviously showed that last night. So credit to Dubois for taking the fight so early on, and if he can recover from the injury, we'll come again.
Did the fight play out, David, kind of how you expected it to? Very nip and tuck, close rounds, and nobody really seemed to be dominating. Certainly up until that 10th round, it was, as you say, is very close.
No, it didn't, because I thought after a few rounds, Joyce would take over and up the ante with his volume of punches. But his punch volume weren't as usual, up to what it usually is last night. And that's because Daniel Dubois had his respect with his power, and he didn't want to go looking for Daniel Dubois. He boxed a good fight. He stuck to his tactics well. He moved his feet well. Some good head movement from him. Thought he defended well, and when he did take shots, he took them no problem. And I think after a few rounds, I think Dubois knew he weren't going to knock him out. because he took a couple of his big shots, and I think he accepted he weren't going to knock him out, and he tried to get behind his own jab and, you know, win a boxing match. And in a lot of people's eyes, he was winning, which again is something to take from the fight from him. Yeah, I expected it. I expected it to be a bit more messy, if you will, a bit of carnage. Do you know what I mean? Bit of drama, bit of wrestling. You know, that type of fight. A bit scruffy at times, but it was pretty clean. So credit to the two of them.
David, over social media and the immediate aftermath of the fight stopping, there's a lot of people saying that they felt Daniel quit on the night.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on those comments?
Yeah, look, it's the easiest thing in the world for someone to look into a boxing ring and say fighters quit, and other fighters are saying it and everything else. But the thing for me with what happened last night is I was pretty damaged way before he took a knee. So it's not like the swelling came and he just stopped there and then. So he's been in pain for a while, and then obviously when that one landed, it looked as though something's happened in his eye that's made him think, oh fucking hell, what was that type of thing? I'm gonna have to take a knee. And then look, I believe he's fractured his eye socket or something. I done that to a sparring partner about 5 years ago, and it was fucking bad, mate. You know, he was vomiting in the toilet. I had to get out the ring. He was spewing up. I was worried. I thought he'd had a fucking bleed on the brain or something. He said he'd never had pain like it, and that was one punch done the job, and he stopped straight away. Dubois obviously fought on through that. I feel until something significant has happened for him to do it, because he was 2.5 rounds away from the final bell and potentially winning. So something in his instincts and in his psyche has told him to stop getting fucking hit in the eye. You know, he probably from earlier on, he's probably desperate for Joyce to fucking knock him out. It was probably hurting him that much, but he was getting tortured by that jab, and you know, Joyce could have just done that all night. So I can see what people are saying. Well, I believe that, you know, Daniel Dubois has stepped up into a fight that he didn't need to take at this stage, and he was worthy of taking it. He suffered a terrible injury, and it may well prove to have been the best thing he could have done, because who's to say he's even going to be able to fight again after an injury like that? But obviously, the consensus is that he's spewed it, and that's always something that's difficult to, you know, remove from a fighter's, you know, perspective, people's perspective of the fighter. So an opinion, like Vitaly Klitschko, when his shoulder went against Chris Bird. Now, if he wouldn't have done that and fought on, he may well not have fought again. Sometimes head over heart works, but I just think we should look at how good the fight was, how good he performed. He was in the fight, and the kid's got a fucking potentially career-ending injury. So just you know, people's opinions are exactly that.
We obviously do hope Daniel recovers well from his injury. We've seen the kind of the news or rumours as to what it could be. So wishing Daniel all the best with that. But just a final thing on him before we come on to what's next for Joe. Again, just people picking up on what kind of this could mean for Daniel moving forwards, provided he's able to get back into the ring. Do you think there's a psychological aspect that he'll have to overcome now when he's in future fights, if things do start to get tough for whatever were against Joe last night?
Only if his eye injury reoccurs, because apart from that, you know, I didn't see anything that told me that he's not tough. Like I said, 18.5 stone man constantly jabbing the same spot on your eye is gonna hurt. And Joe Joyce's jab's fucking brilliant, by the way. It's so effortless, but it doesn't look much, but it's so accurate. It's landing, like, I'd say it's landing 2 times out of 3 when he was throwing it. Obviously, he's young enough to rebuild at a lower level. Doesn't have to go too lower level. Because he proved last night he is at that level. He's European title level already. So unless the eye is an issue again, which it may well could be, because they do recur. It happened to Kell Brook, didn't it? They do recur. So it's one of them. If he can look after the eye, I don't think he's facing a mental challenge. I think he'll be all right.
And David, on to Joe Joyce and what's next. In 2 previous interviews, you said to me you would love to see the Alexander Usyk fight for Joe, and you think he'd give Alexander a variety of different kind of issues and problems he'd have to overcome. Last night, there seems to be a few more people kind of jumping on that, thinking they'd be interested in seeing it. So yourself, is that a fight you'd like to see next for Joe?
Yeah, definitely. I think he showed last night another dimension to his game with his boxing brain last night for me. But I don't think he should fight like that. If he does fight Usyk, I think he should make it, the big man's fight, lean over him, make him work. He's not going to beat Usyk in a boxing match, that's for sure. The thing is with Joe, he isn't the quickest, but he's got good timing, great fitness, world-class toughness. And it is a fight that I've always just thought over 12 rounds. He's in with a shout. Look, Derek pushed Usyk all the way. Joe's a taller, probably fitter than Derek, but he's a bigger man stature-wise than Derek. Don't know about strength. Derek's a strong man, but Joe's got them longer levers and can keep landing the jab. Derek was having to switch southpaw to land the jab on Usyk. Joe Joyce won't have to do that. He'll be able to land his own lead jab. Not as much as last night, but it'll land. And they're tudding shots. Yeah, it's a great one. I've seen Tony Yoka mentioned it as well, didn't he? Which again I like. I like Yoka. He's a crisp puncher, solid, strong, upright boxer. Good solid fighter with accurate punches. I think Joyce would beat him, because I think he beat him in the Olympic final. I think over 12 rounds again. He's just going to break hearts, unless it's your Tyson Furies or your Anthony Joshua's. Then I think he's gonna break some hearts in the ring. Like,
I mean, David, I don't know whether you caught it or not, but Tony Yoka fought Christian Hammer on Friday night, I believe it was. Wasn't necessarily a convincing win, but one nevertheless. Did you catch it?
Didn't see it. No, do you know what? I tried to look at highlights on YouTube, and they put it on back to front, told you about boxing southpaw. Must have been a copyright thing or something, so I just turned it off. I'll try and have a look at it somewhere else.
David, just moving forwards, then. If it was for Joe, in Joe's case now, if it wasn't Alexander Usyk, what do you think he's out there for him?
I don't know, but that's the thing. Because who's going to want to fight him? That's the question. Because he isn't box office yet, is he? So how much is he bringing to the table for the bigger names? I'd like to see him fight Luis Ortiz, something like that. I think that's a good fight for him. Luis Ortiz, Carlos Takam. There's fights like that. They're all good fights for Joe Joyce, and very winnable. I think I do. There's something, he's got something that I just think is going to be difficult to beat. And I've thought that for a while. He's just a nightmare for a lot of fighters, and it's the fact that how well he can hold a shot. He's gonna take some punch to knock him out. Definitely.
Just moving forwards, David, and onto a few other topics whilst I've got you. Sticking with yourself for first and foremost. When you see fights like last night, does that give you any more of a desire to want to get back into the ring?
No. Not really, no. It didn't, to be honest. I'm enjoying just watching it as a fan, instead of like watching it as in, oh, what would I be doing now and this and that. You're just watching the two of them as a fan. It's more enjoyable instead of judging and, you know, judging yourself against them. How would I deal with that, this, that, and the other? So, not really, no. You know, whatever what that tells you. But like I said, the phone hasn't rang yet, and until then, if it does, I won't know for sure how I'm gonna respond.
What does your head tell you at this stage? Because I know you've been ticking over for a while now.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm like 50-50. It's just the longer I go without fighting, the less sense it makes to fight again anyway. You know, so I'll probably decide what I'm going to do by Christmas time, and then just, you know, I don't want to be making any big announcements one way or another, but, you know, I'd at least let people know what the plan is, because a lot of people ask, you know, when are you fighting, and there are fights that will excite people, and, you know, last night I got it. I got why people enjoy watching me, because it's heavyweight boxing, and it's edgy as seat stuff, and I bring that myself. So, you know, I get it, but then it's whether I still want to do it. So, you know, we'll see over the next month or so.
David, my final topic I want to touch on involves a fellow Liverpudlian in Callum-Smith. He finally had that Canelo fight announced. Just talk to me about that, David. How happy were you for Callum?
Oh, made up for him. Made up for him. You know, he hasn't fought for over a year. He's in the prime of his career. You know, he needed that big fight now. He couldn't keep treading water. He performs better against a better opponent. So it was great news, and well deserved. So it's exciting, and I think fight fans in general are excited by this, because it's definitely a test for Canelo, who's obviously the number one, or up there as the number one pound for pound, and people want to see him tested. A lot of people want to see him beaten, including myself in this fight. You know, I'm a big Canelo fan. I just think it's a great fight. And Callum-Smith testing himself against the best in the world is what he deserves as a fighter and what he wanted.
How are you expecting that fight to play out, David? And also, how key could it be that, you know, I've seen Eddie Hearn say that there is no rehydration clause. How big and significant could that be?
Yeah, I think it will be, but Callum-Smith, I don't think Callum-Smith really struggles to make the weight. I don't think he gets in the ring that much heavier than he weighs in. You know, he's not going to get in the ring at 14 stone or something. And I don't think it'd be a good idea to do so, because Canelo's got the edge in speed going into the fight. You know, Canelo's a dynamic fighter with good hand speed, good head movement, good foot. He's the full package, isn't he? Callum's good, solid, tall boxer who can handle himself up at close range as well, throws great body shots. I think Canelo is gonna. I think he's gonna move his feet initially in the fight, and circle the ring and try and dart in and score shots and get back out of range. That's how I think he's gonna plan it. So I think Callum's best shot is to land off a counter when Canelo commits. And he can do that, Callum. He's done it with George Groves. You know, he caught a right hand, and he turned with his left hand and fired the left hook back and wobbled him, and it was the beginning of the end. So he's got it in him to instinctively do that. You know, as far as landing big shots on Canelo from open play yourself, it's not easy, because he's got that slick head movement. So you're gonna have to open him up, prize him open with the jab. You know, the jab's gonna be key. But there's a big height difference. So Callum-Smith, it must be 6 inches taller, maybe more. Now I know myself personally, if you're fighting someone a lot smaller and you're jabbing from this position, which Callum does, you know, it might say it's in Canelo's line of vision constantly, and you can see it coming. So you might have to vary the jab up a little bit, bring it in from low, out of Canelo's line of sight, and up into his head to lift his head, because you're going to have a low chin, low head, and a lot of the time the jab will just be hitting the gloves. And you want to do the damage around the facial area, obviously. So yeah, it's intriguing, and it's a great way to finish this shit year, really, isn't it? So good all around.
Right, David, I will leave that there now and leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. I
Cheers,
appreciate
mate.
you giving up some time as always, mate. It means a lot, and thank you for speaking to us.
Anytime, mate. Anytime. Get back in touch soon.